JIL office markers. Ever heard of them? Probably not. Looking back at old messages, I found some old research into this random forgotten marker company with almost no clues as to what happened to them. Back then, I only did like 30 minutes of research, so I ended up with almost basically nothing to what happened to them. Not this time, though. Now, I'll be digging up almost 2-year-old information and bringing this back after almost 2 years to see if I can finally get a conclusion to what happened to JIL office markers. If you go onto the JIL office website, there are only whiteboards and bulletin boards. No markers in sight. Not a single information on markers. There's no contact information on here either. No, so there's really no way that I could like you know how like sites of contact information you could like tell them like, oh hey, your product sucks, stuff like that. There's nothing there. The site is also really off-putting. Like, there's no credits to who made the site. The homepage and catalog buttons don't work, and if you try putting them into the search bar, an error just comes up. And lastly, it appears almost abandoned if it wasn't for the 2 out of 28 of their products having reviews. And the even weirder thing is, if you sort it by best selling, the products with reviews aren't at the top. Not most of them. One of them is towards the bottom. The other one is like in the middle-ish, kind of towards the top. Of course, you don't have to like write a review if you buy something, but it's really, really odd that their best-selling don't have any reviews. Also, both products have exactly 500 reviews with kinda similar stats. The details don't seem to give us any info either, it's just like details of the product, which makes sense, but there was one thing that caught my immediate attention. Right at the bottom of the products with reviews, it says you can contact them, which wasn't on the best-selling one for some reason. It was also listed on a like random other product, and another random product had a completely different format, so I don't really know what's going on there, but you know. I searched up the contact information to my immediate disappointment to find random other JIL named contact pages. At least that's what I thought. Look back at that top result. Anything familiar? Right there in the description, JIL Office specializes in office supplies including whiteboards, calendar boards, grid boards, bulletin boards, chalkboards, and combination boards. That's when I knew I found something. JIL Office was hiding as JIL World and I didn't even know. This site is just JIL Office, but bigger, better, and less of an eerie site. With credits at the bottom too. They even have an intro video. In fact, they have 2 intro videos. Isn't that just neat? Yup. I would contact them through the little contact information thingy, but I am too scared to put my information into the site, even if I do get a chance to find out what happened to the markers. Also, it ruins the fun of researching all this, so, you know. Circling back to JIL Office, not JIL World, but JIL Office. You may have noticed by now that the site name is not like JIL Office or JIL Office. I don't know anything else that you could put there. It's Mikapa, Mikipa. I don't know how to pronounce it. Use your imagination. But I searched that up, and it's just some kitchen site. They sell kitchen stuff. Their site name is even mikapa.kitchen. As for now, I do not think they have anything to do with our marker research. If you search up Mikapa, it also shows up like random makeup stuff. I don't know what that's about. It's like tweezers or something. I don't really know. I do think it's odd that JIL World didn't take JILoffice.com because when I searched it up, it didn't go to any site, so I don't think it's in use, I think. It's not like they're rebranding either, because the intro videos still feature, like, at, like, the end of them, it says JIL Office, so I don't know why. I don't know. But none of this gives us clues about the markers, man. We need to know about the markers. All it proves is that JIL Office is not an abandoned ghost site, and Mikapa is unrelated. But the markers, man, what happened to them? Going back to the first ever time that I researched this, just searching up JIL office markers gives you links to their whiteboards, unsurprisingly, and expo markers, which will come up again later, so I'll talk about it then. But for the most part, there isn't much but Amazon, Walmart, and other random site links to their whiteboards, as well as the link to the JIL office site, obviously. I mean, I wonder how I found it. If you just straight up search what happened to JIL office markers, you'll get nothing except more things about Expo. If you're desperate enough for answers to check the AI overview, which I did, it says Newell Brands, a Fortune 500 company, acquired Sanford, the company that makes Expo markers, in 1992. Sanford launched the first ever Expo dry erase marker in 1976. Which is really confusing, and I know, and we'll get to that. If you scroll down, there's the tab, I forgot what it says, it's on screen probably, hopefully. You'll see this. It reads, on February 14th, 1992, Sanford was acquired by the Newell Company, now called Newell Brands, a Fortune 500 company. In August 1976, the company launched the first Expo dry erase marker. In November 1986, the company launched a new marker named Expo 2, I think. It featured an alcohol-based ink instead of methyl isobutyl ketone, maybe? Starting to connect the pieces, it all makes sense, right? Fortune 500 owns the company Newell Brands, which owns Sanford, and I have no idea what Sanford is, or Fortune 500. Newell Brands launched Expo markers in 1976. If you look on the Newell Brands Wikipedia, there's no mentions of JIL office. There are mentions of markers, but it's Expo markers and other Newell markers. I don't know what this, like Sharpie and stuff. Well, let's look at the Newell site, shall we? If you go onto the Brands tab, JIL office is not one of them. So, Newell does not own JIL office. If you search markers, surprisingly considering they own Sharpie, nothing shows up. There is nothing. JIL office markers not on Newell. Newell Brands is also not a part of the mysterious missing marker, so they weren't sold off to another company as far as we know. So that means they were probably discontinued, right? End of story, yeah? Well, if you search up why did JIL office stop selling markers, nothing comes up. So where are the markers? Why isn't there any info on them being discontinued? Surely at least one person besides me had to notice it. I'm not taking the half-assed answer of it being discontinued. What if it goes deeper than that? There's almost no information on JIL office besides their two websites, one of them being a little bit more useful than the other. Looking back at my old screenshots, there's one that stands out a little bit more than the others, which is the first one I ever sent. It's a single JIL office marker being resold for $5 by what I'm gonna call FSAS LLC, because I don't know how to pronounce it. Which I went back onto eBay and it says that the gray one is sold out. It just kind of says that it doesn't show me anything, it just says it's sold out and I can't view it, so it is what it is. But FSAS LLC, those cheeky little fellas, they have a pink one. Oh, they have a pink marker up, but this time it doesn't have the it doesn't have our girl JIL office in the title like it had with the gray one. It's just kind of there. Also, on the marker, I'm pretty sure, I don't have the image up, but I'm pretty sure on the gray one it says GXN, and if you search that up, if you search up GXN whiteboard, you'll find more of the markers, and this just brings more questions than answers, because who is GXN? Where did they come from? Why are, what is going on? Is the gray one actually JIL office markers? Or is it this GXN one? Did one of them buy one of the other's company? Is the reason that we can't find any history of their markers because they never even had markers? How did I even find the marker in the first place? I don't know, because it was 2 years ago. So many questions that are likely to not be answered because there isn't any fandom or fan base or even knowledge in the first place behind JIL office. But wait, how far does this even go back to? It doesn't go back to 1976 with Expo, but it does go back to 2006 in the Wayback Machine under the JIL World site. If you put the JIL office site link into the Wayback Machine, it doesn't give you anything, but JIL World, which I presumed was the newer site, has screenshots from all the way back to 2006. And the even crazier thing, it goes back to a Chinese site. The first screenshot in September 1st, 2006 doesn't load, but there is one in November 9th, 2006. I translated the top and it just gives like some sort of game development website. And there's just like an IP that they have there, which I mean, thanks, I guess. If you search it up, it's some random area in Shanghai, China. At least I think that's how you pronounce it, Shanghai, right? I genuinely do not know why they have their IP there, but you know, that's cool. There's also 3 more screenshots in November of 2006. On November 16th, November 23rd, and November 28th. None of the screenshots seemed to be any different from what I could tell, but I did remember that there's this feature on Google Chrome that automatically allows you to just Google Translate the entire website, and so I did that, and at the bottom, it did prove that this was some sort of game development, Chinese gaming development website of sorts. The tab at the top, which I couldn't get a full screenshot of because it wouldn't allow me to, translates to Triumph Legend Private Server Official Website. So I have no living clue on what we uncovered, but that's what we found. And by we, I mean I, but you're a part of this too now. Heart emoji. After that, there was nothing else about the Chinese website, so I still like have no idea who they are, or why they're here, or like what happened in 2006. Okay, I searched it up, it doesn't lead to anything, but there's images of motorcycles in some random thing called Rage Zone. I don't know what this is, but that's cool. The next archive jumps all the way up to 2014, the dates being May 17th and December 17th. It's probably just coincidence that they're both on the 17th, but this could mean something it probably doesn't. It's probably just coincidence. But yeah, this time, it's not the Chinese website, but the start of JIL World. It's mostly just blank in May, with it just being like gray with really limited info. In December, it's more colorful, nice little blue, but you know, the same amount of limited info. On August 1st, 2015, it was archived again, going back to its original blank gray shape with even less info, but now we can clearly tell that it is being sold. The URL is being sold. Either the Chinese site got taken down and sold, or the Chinese people decided to sell the site. I really have no idea. In 2016, and remember that date, there are 3 more screenshots all on different days. March 10th, March 13th, and October 9th. I only got to see the January 10th one because I almost saw something that I didn't need to see, but thankfully the site did not fully load. I am so thankful that it did not load. To put it in a summary, it was literally a porn website. Yeah, the marker whiteboard website was used for that back in 2016. All that loaded before I, quickly scrambled off the site because Jesus Christ, what the hell? But all that loaded in the middle of the site was just saying that it was for sale with an image of 2 women that thankfully didn't load fully. All I saw was their heads, and that's all I needed to know. And if you scroll down, it has a link titled something that I would rather not repeat, and that's when my brain finally processed what on God's good gracious green earth this was, and I closed the tab. Also at the top of the tab where it reads out the thing, I don't know what it's called, but the tab, it literally said teenage girl's first ever porn or something like that. It was scary, and we don't need to know. It was scary, and we never need to go back. I am so thankful I didn't see anything, bro. Oh my gosh. I only looked at the January one, so I have absolutely no idea if anything changed in March or October, and I do not wish to see it, to be completely honest. If you want to go and see for yourself, you can, but I am not going to. There were also screenshots from 2017 to 2019. There was none in 2020. There was one in 2021, none in 2022, and some in 2023 to 2024, and none in 2025. I immediately skipped to the screenshots in 2023 to avoid whatever the hell was happening in 2016, but my theory, and I don't know if this is true because I didn't want to look at the other ones out of worry for seeing more, but because there was none in 2020 and there was only one in 2021 and nothing in 2022, I'm willing to bet that it got sold off to JIL World in 2020 and they started on it in 2021. They didn't do much in 2022 and then they got back to it in 2023, but I'm not 100% sure on that. The first one, in 2023, October 30th, was early development of the JIL World site. It is mostly blank. The next one of the site was like completely broken and just didn't load. On April 16th of 2024, it was still broken, but it loaded this time. It was just the basics of the site, but in like just in text, pretty much. December 24th has two screenshots. The first one has like the sails on them with like unloaded photos and it's pretty blurry, while the second one is way more broken and written out at the start. The photos are just circles and I don't know like why, but they're just there. And both of the pages are really long, just like the current site. It has a long list of information. That is all the information I'm willing to search through in the Wayback Machine. I do not know when JIL Office bought it, but you know, that is what it is. If you want to go find out for yourself and look at the other ones that I didn't look at, then you can. I'll probably just put the link to JIL World on the screen. You could probably search it up, and if you just search up JIL World, you could probably find it easily and just put that in the Wayback Machine. But yeah, that's all I have on the Wayback Machine stuff for now. As I was writing the conclusion paragraph for this, I was looking back on the old messages of my research from 2 years ago to make sure that I had gone through everything. I had not. There was one last photo I had saw of this random company called Maxgear who was also selling the markers. I, did a quick search, Maxgear magnet dry erase markers, and I couldn't find the exact same ones, but I did find a very similar marker. It's basically the same image as the original one I found, but the markers are just different. I did a quick search into the company and I found their site instead of just a random ass Amazon link. When you search markers in the search bar that they have, it doesn't show any results of markers, but it shows whiteboards which include markers. The first one and the third one have square-shaped erasers, which aren't exactly the same ones as the original marker, but the second one, it has the spherical-shaped eraser. The second one is the most promising of all, but it doesn't have the markers by themselves on the site. It just has them included with the whiteboard. And from what I've seen, it seems that the theming of those markers and the way that they're designed are really popular or used often. But for now, the Maxgear is the closest we have to finding the OG markers because they're included there and there's multiple different ones of them. And I guess it's really the closest thing we have. When I reverse image searched it, it only further proves my theory that the design is extremely popular because there was several different companies that had the exact same design. There was multiple Amazon links in several different areas, including the US, the UK, Japan, and this place I forgot how to pronounce the name of. Also, this random site I haven't heard of called Alibaba, wherever you pronounce it, I don't know. And that one comes up 2 or 3 times. There are also other sites like eBay and Walmart. The entire Maxgear thing just makes the search for the OG markers even harder because it genuinely could have come from anywhere in the world. Genuinely anywhere. What is happening? Why are the markers everywhere? Help. Everything that I had found on the Wayback Machine and Maxgear made the lore of this random ass marker even deeper than it should have been. This started off as just a ramble 2 years ago after getting barely enough sleep, and I somehow discovered it. I don't know if we had the marker and I got bored and searched it up. I genuinely do not know how I found this marker, bro. Now it turned into 6 hours of research and 7 pages on Google Docs, and like, what is this now? Like 2 hours of recording this audio? Maybe an hour? I don't know how long it's been. Take me out of the padded cell, take me out of the padded cell. I would genuinely be so happy if I can finally get information on this, because it's not even just about the markers anymore. We are long past the markers, bro. We don't know, we have no idea where the markers came from. We do not know who made them. We do not know why there are so many of them. We do not know why they're all around the world. We do not know. We don't even know if it's JIL office. We don't know anything about the markers. And the craziest thing is, it's not just about the markers anymore. What is happening with this company, dude? Who is this Chinese video game website and the other interesting site? I say interesting, not like it's actually interesting, but like you're getting put on a list interesting. Like, what is going on? What is this company? What is this link? Why is this the URL? All we have is the research, but nothing to string it all together and finally get a conclusion. This whiteboard company going back to a Chinese video game site in 2006 is not what I was expecting to find. And don't even get me started on how unprepared I was for the site in 2016, bro. I was on call with my friends and they were playing Minecraft, and they had to hear me freak out as soon as I realized what I stumbled upon. It went from like a 2 to a 20 so fast. Also, the Chinese gaming thing was so random and confusing. My friend was the original person who told me to look at the Wayback Machine to see if I could find anything, and so I was like, yeah, sure, that could be useful. And then I told them and the other friends that were on call that I had found a Chinese gaming website from 2006, and we were all so confused because that's not normal. Like, what is happening? And one of my friends ended up getting scared of the markers. Overall, this was an absolutely insane thing to cover, and I have the right to say that because what the actual hell? If I had told myself back in 2023 that, you know, I would do some more research into the markers, I'd be like, oh, that's nice, instead of just like my 30-minute research. But if I had told myself that after doing research on some silly markers and what I had found, bro, my jaw would drop. I knew back then that it was deeper. I've known that it was deeper than just the markers, bro. I'm not insane, I swear. Just. Anyway, welcome to the JIL office fan base, to be honest. I'm mostly kidding about that, but thanks for listening to my silly marker ramble. I hope you take something out of this. If you want, please try and research and find as much as you can if you want to actually dive deeper into this. Okay, gang-a-lang, see you in the next video, yo. Never let me make that an outro again. Hint. I still don't know. Of course you don't have to buy a product. Wait, that's not what that says. The details don't what? The details don't. Okay, I can't laugh when I say it, bro. Their site name isn't even mikappa.kitchen. Wait, their site name... Wait, I didn't read that right. If you start to connect the pieces, huh? If you look on the Wikipedia... God damn it. It's Expo and other do well... Surely at least... Which I went on to eBay. Stop. I can't do this. Okay. Lock in. Okay. Very, very interesting how they're both 17. That I sound like a pedophile.